Yes, everybody, welcome back. My name is Stephen Howson, and this is 5 things that we learned watching United book our place in yet another semi-final with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. First up then, the Spanish curse is over. After winning the first leg of a European tie away from home, United have managed to progress from all such 22 ties in European competition, and 2 of the 3 that we've had this season have been against Spanish opposition. Ahead of this season, United were winless in our previous 9 games against Spanish opposition, with 3 draws and 6 losses in the Champions League and Europa League. And now we've won 3 of our last 4 after we've had Sociedad and Granada by an aggregate score of 8-0. I think it's fair to say that that curse is well and truly in the bin. Either team may not be the best that Spain has to offer. It's certainly not Atletico, it's certainly not Real, it's certainly not Barcelona, it's certainly not even Bilbao, who we've struggled with in the past. But we have beaten Spanish opposition, and we have done so by a score of 8-0, and that is a hell of a start. Number 2, another clean sheet. There's a general consensus that United's defence is bad. Probably due to some of the really memorable clangers that we've had at different parts of this season and the last couple of years, I think it's fair to say, but it's nothing of the sort. And United's defensive record in 2021 has actually been pretty impressive. Since the turn of the year, we've kept a clean sheet in 15 of 27 games, which is 56% in all competitions, just conceding 18 goals in total. And I think success builds from the back. We saw a tangible improvement in the first season of Ole and the first season of Wan-Bissaka and Maguire. We sort of replicated a similar sort of number that we saw under Jose in terms of defence, but we've done so in also managing to score goals at the front as well. And that's what makes you a good side, being mean at the back and fruitful up front. And we've really started to show that, I think, of late. I think we've vastly improved in a defensive sense. I think it's a settled defence, and that's maybe something that Ollie's got to take a little bit of credit for. Resurgence of Luke Shaw's tangible to see. Wan-Bissaka's out here getting as many assists in the Premier League as the most attacking, brilliant fullback in the world, according to some people, in Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think even though Trent and Wan-Bissaka don't necessarily pass the eye test, and they're not really comparable when it comes to the eye test, the fact that they're both sitting on 2 assists for the season goes a long way, I think. And I think they've both played a similar, if not the same amount of games. So the defence is getting there. I still think there's improvements to be made in the defence in terms of personnel, but it is getting there. Number 3, Cavani strikes again. Edinson Cavani once again showcased the clinical nature and the reason why he probably would have been a fan favourite if he'd have actually played in front of any United fans. And I think he's really settling some of the nerves that we have. I think his involvement in the United starting 11, leading the line, makes everybody around him better. And last night he put United ahead with a superb volley, a real striker's finish, something that, being in the right place at the right time, he just managed to get on the end of and capitalise and put it away. He's now scored in 4 of his last 5 shots, not games, shots for United, which is making Anthony Martial's absence a hell of a lot easier, I think it would be fair to say. His work rate, his movement, his positioning alone make him really invaluable to this team at the moment, and he's already proven to be a brilliant capture. On a free, he's ended the number 7 curse. The only issue that we might have outstanding is, what does the future mean for Edinson Cavani? When your old man's coming out and saying that he wants to go Boca Juniors, I believe him, but I think it'd be a mistake. I think United can utilise him. I think he can really become a favourite at Manchester United, and I'm sure he wants to play in front of us at Old Trafford. And I also think he's got too much to offer to go and play in the South American leagues at the moment. I think he's far too good to go to what is essentially a retirement home. I think he could go there in at least another year, or even 2 years, the way he's playing. I'd love to see him stick around. Number 4, Tuanzebe covered well. I thought it was a really intriguing view at Axel Tuanzebe last night after a severe lack of game time this season, and he's come in, been brilliant against PSG, completely pocketed Mbappe, and he's been awful, as we saw when he played against Istanbul, and he was at fault. But he slotted in brilliantly for the suspended Harry Maguire very well last night. He's only made 3 appearances in 2021 before last night, and he didn't really look like he was missing any sort of sharpness, so hopefully he's been working very hard behind the scenes. And he really helped United to another clean sheet. He had a 93% pass accuracy, completed 54 passes, 4 ball recoveries, 4 duels, 3 long passes, 3 clearances, and 2 interceptions. It was a really solid outing from Axel Tuanzebe. Admittedly, Granada weren't the toughest opponents that we're ever going to face, but one that I think he can take a little bit of confidence from. And finally, AS Roma await. United have booked our place in the semi-final, and in the semi-final we have got AS Roma. With Sociedad, AC Milan, and now Granada beaten, United are just 3 games away from lifting silverware for the first time since 2017. And waiting in the semi-finals is, as we've said, AS Roma. Their 1-1 draw with Ajax last night saw them progress with a 3-2 lead, and going into it, I didn't really have a preference whether it was Ajax or Roma. I do think both games are going to represent a little bit of a tough tie. And it's the 5th semi-final in 2 years under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The Roma are once again a team that United should be beating, I do believe. And I do think we can end our awful semi-final run that we've had recently. Familiar faces are going to be playing against us in the form of Henrik Mkhitaryan and Chris Smalling. They might have helped us win the competition 4 years ago, but they currently play for Roma, and I think it's time that we dump them out in the semi-final. No room for sentiment in this one. Get in and get the job done. With us looking like we've all but secured top 4 in the league, I think the focus now has to be bringing some silverware. Because even though I don't think necessarily winning a cup alone would secure Solskjaer's job, I think the fact that if we can sit here in a little over a month's time and we can say we came second, which was tangible progress in the league, and it was also our 2nd consecutive top 4 finish, which is the first time we've done that since Sir Alex Ferguson, and we capped it off with a trophy win as well by lifting the Europa League, then I don't think there's anybody that can say that the improvement has not been tangible. And then the drum needs to start being beaten for Ole to be given the tools to rearm this team, reshape this team in the image that he wants. We've seen recently the sheer weight of players that we've been linked with, from Jude Bellingham's performances in the Champions League to Erling Haaland's performances across the course of this season. So some of the other players that he's been linked with that we know that Ole wanted, including the likes of Jack Grealish and Jadon Sancho. So it's obvious that he's able to spot some talent. I think all of us would agree that if we'd have had Sancho or even Bellingham and Haaland, it would look a lot different for Manchester United than it does at the moment. And those are the sort of players that we need to be bringing in if we're going to actually change second and picking up Europa Leagues to actually competing for and winning leagues and Champions Leagues, because those are the things that matter. Anyway, cheers for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters.